We're Blue Man Group NYC, the OG theater where the bald and the blue began. AMA. A very big thank you from the BMG team. Link proof. Link hey Reddit, we are Blue Man Group. Ask us anything, truly anything, we have no filter. Where did the blue men come from? How do you even become a blue man? Why do you only wear black? What did you have for lunch? The blue men will be answering these questions. But in case their responses prompt more questions, we brought along members from our Blue Man New York team to help. Meet the team. Dustin Fontaine. Blue Man West A. Blue Man Murph Ocamp. Blue Man Band Chris Schultz. Blue Man Band Tasha Van Aken. Manager. Casting Training Carly Anders. Props Deck Supervisor Sarah Lawrence. Wardrobe Makeup Supervisor. What did you think of the Tobias Funk Blue Man theme in Arrested Development? What color was he? Blue. Tobias is one of our lesser acolytes. What he lacks in skills he makes up for with dedication and loyalty. The color is International Klein Blue Love, Dustin. Ever get any skin reactions from wearing the blue paint all the time at your shows? Even if I assume it's some organic stuff. It's a pretty mild makeup. I do like to use a gentle facial cleanser and moisturizer. Love, Dustin. Do you live in a blue house with a blue little window? Link. How do you respond to the accusation that the Blue Man Group is a total ripoff of the Smurfs? Link. Fearnet. We give ourselves an hour, but I can lick it and stick it in 16 minutes. Love, Dustin. Have you ever been recognized in public after you blew yourself? What was the reaction if so? Someone asked me once if I was Chris Angel. I said nope. But he came and saw the show, in Vegas, and was delightful. Hope this helps. Love, Dustin. I was really into BMG's music in college, but the lack of newer albums definitely didn't help me stay on the bandwagon. So, I have two questions. One, it's been 7-ish years since the last album. Anything new that we should keep our eyes out for within the next year or so? 2. One of my favorite things about the band is the experimentation with what can be an instrument. Since the release of 3, are there any particular sounds that you've discovered in the last 7 years that you're very pleased with, that album listeners haven't heard yet? Keep a lookout for our latest music video and song developed with a technique called biosonification. I think it's pretty neat. And it may come out the end of this month. We're polishing it up now. Love, Dustin. 1. We're writing new music as we type this. Keep your eyes out for a new music video coming to screens everywhere. I happen to have had the immense pleasure of performing on the track and in the video. 2. Funny you should ask. Biosonification PS. The North American tour that recently ran all over the US, Canada, and Mexico was chock full of new music. See also. Chockfull and chock-full contents 1 English 1.1 Alternative forms 1.2 Etymology 1.3 Pronunciation 1.4 Adjective 1.4.1 Translations 1.4.2 See also 1.5 References English alternative forms chocked full, chock-full, chock-full, choke-full, chuck-full, chuck-full. Dated, etymology from Middle English chock-full, crammed full. C. 1400, possibly from choke, cheek, equivalent to cheek full. Or it may be from Old French choquer, collide, crash, hit, similar to shock. 1. The later form chock a block full is due to association with chalk, used in carpentry and shipbuilding. Pronunciation IPA, key, teak fl, adjective chock full. Comparative more chock full, superlative most chock full, informal. Containing the maximum amount possible. Flush on all sides, jam-packed, crammed. That article is chock full of errors. Translations plus or minus containing the maximum amount. Chris. Link. Do certain facial structures, head shapes look better as a blue man than others? We have blue men with all different shaped heads. Oblong, round, heart, triangle, square, oval, diamond, all are probably represented somewhere in our cast. Tasha. Link. Where do your ears go under that makeup? Is there a cap that also comes with the costume? Link. What makeup or blue goo do you use on your heads? It always looked so thick and gloopy like it had the consistency of axle grease. Hi. We use a theatrical grease paint that is very thick and almost has the consistency of axle grease. _Wes. Do you ever refer to yourselves as the bald and the blue tiffle? I will now, thanks, Dustin. Why so blue? I mean, why blue and not red or yellow? Eve Klein was a big inspiration for Chris, Matt, and Phil, originators. Look him up. The color we used is based on his shade of cobalt blue. Love, Dustin. How many total people in the world are official Blue Men? How many Blue Men per theater or traveling production? Do you all know each other's parts? Can you swap out throwing Marshmallow Blue Man with catching Marshmallow Blue Man before show time, or does it always have to be the same? I need some Blue Man logistics. We have over 70 Blue Men performing around the world right now. Every theater and tour has a different number of performers depending on how many shows. Most have a cast of around 6. When a new Blue Man trains, they train into only one role, but they will cross-train into the other roles after a period of time performing. Most of our Blue Men know all 3 roles, which means yes, they can catch and throw marshmallows. Tasha. As someone who has never heard any of you speak, how would you describe what you sound like? Like if Frank Sinatra and General Grievous had a cat that loved to drum. Love, Dustin. Link. What are the worst logistical hurdles you have to jump through to get BMG to another theater? I imagine managers get pretty anxious once you start discussing ponchos and medical cameras. Thankfully, many of our shows, except our tours, have stayed in the same place for a while, and many of our theaters have just as many quirks as the show itself, so we've been able to grow in and adapt with them to fit our unusual, and messy, technical needs. It's not very glamorous, but I think the biggest hurdle all the shows, especially the props departments, face is often storage related. We do a lot of shows with a lot of consumables, one and done use. You mentioned ponchos, but there's also bulk orders of Twinkies, freight pallets of Cap and Crunch, and enough paint to put your local craft store out of business. Carly. Our sets are typically quite large. Sometimes getting our band lofts and elevated platforms into historic theaters on tour becomes challenging. That, and keeping those historic theaters paint-free. We tend to get blue everywhere, haha, Chris. How in the world do you get your blue makeup so close to your eyes without ever getting it in them? I wear contact lenses and they help keep paint off of my eyes. Wes Day. Is it hard to make no facial expressions for such a long period of time? The guys definitely have trouble keeping a straight face at times. With all the audience participation, things are always unpredictable. If you see a Blue Man looking down or upstage, it may be to hit a smirk. Bernadette, production stage manager. What would you do if you were green? Link. Do you have blue balls? Link. How does the theater determine who gets picked to participate in the show? Is it completely random? I had the awesome pleasure to join you guys on stage many years ago, and it was a total blast. We have certain positions that we ask them before the show, but our feast guest is always picked by the Blue Men in the moment. Bernadette, production stage manager. How does one become a Blue Man? Do you show up for interviews blue? What kinds of things do they ask you perform? We do not require people to show up to auditions painted blue, though that would be interesting. Our initial audition is an acting audition where we work with people for about 30 minutes per group. We walk performers through a couple different non-verbal exercises to see how comfortable they are with non-verbal storytelling, taking notes and having fun. It's an unusual audition process, but one that really helps us get a sense of who each person is and what they might bring to the role that is unique. The initial acting auditions is followed by 2-day callbacks and quick drumming assessment. We cast a pretty wide net and see hundreds of people every year for the initial audition. Tasha. When I saw Blue Man Group a few years ago, it seemed like there were several times during the performance when things were about to go wrong, but then miraculously didn't. What's the most memorable mistake or accident you've experienced during a live performance, and how did you deal with it? I performed in a Blue Man show in Brazil where the power went out 3 times. After the 3rd time, the venue had to close because of safety concerns. Days later we found out that a large rat chewed through power cables and shut down the entire city grid for 24 hours. Wes. Has there been a Chapman stick player in the band since the beginning, and is that a regular component in all iterations of the show? The original Chapman stick player and composer, Larry, still plays in the show today. He also came up with a unique way of manipulating the instrument to achieve what has become a signature sound of BMG. He's awesome. Chris. Yep, since day one. I believe every version of the show has had some stick. Murph. How hard is it to get the paint off? Paint off? Chris. Link. I saw a Blue Man talk once, is he fired now? Link. If someone starts singing, I'm Blue Dabba Bee, do you feel contractually obligated to complete the song? I don't think it's that hard to stay fokudabadi dabbity dammit. Love, Dustin. I should also say supervising the guys is like herding cats. It takes a talented person to keep them on track and still keep the vibe in the dressing room good. Bernadette, production stage manager. Our W&M supervisor does so much. From managing a department to handling one of the largest budgets. They also run the show and train everyone. Project managing in collaboration with all the other production heads, they are an essential member. Getting the Blue Men ready may be the easiest part of their job. Link. We do audition women. Because there is a height requirement for the role, 5 feet 10 6 feet 2. It does limit the number of women we see. But if you know any who fit the requirements, we'd love to see them. Tasha. Uniformity of the performers is part of the show. Yes. We are back at the Luxor again. Bernadette, production stage manager. Link. Link. The video of the show exists as a memory in your mind and heart. We will continue to cherish the moment with you. The fleeting nature of live performance and ephemerality of experience is what makes the show so special to us. Life is impermanent. Let the sweetness of that moment inform your next. Love, Dustin. Blue paint stains on everything I own. Carly. Working on a Sunday during the summer when everyone is out having brunch, aka working when most folks are off. Bernadette, production stage manager. Link.